We exist in darkness not because of a few evil people doing evil, but instead because most of everyone else does absolutely nothing about it. The vast majority of humanity remains in profound ignorance, cowardice, Stockholm Syndrome, laziness, apathy, and conformity. We personally have no issue with calling a spade for a spade, as it has been helpful for us personally when others have done so for us. There is nothing wrong with calling ignorance ignorance, stupidity stupidity, laziness laziness, or cowardice cowardice. What is wrong is being so diluted that one lacks the ability to admit that one has been wrong. Foremost, one must cultivate the courage necessary to face the negative head on in order to become truly enlightened as to what's transpiring in this realm. Second, one must find the courage necessary to begin speaking out against it. Thirdly, one must complete the circuit by taking direct action against evil through non-violent engagement with what some have coined the one great work. Any action taken against slavery is good action. Any words expressed against slavery are good words. All inaction against evil is bad. All silence against evil is bad. We both are and will learn this the hard way. One of the worst fates we can imagine is the fate rightly given to those humans who know but choose to do nothing about evil. Many humans have awakened to a certain degree relating to the evil that virtually every one of us is engaged with on a daily basis, yet due to laziness, cowardice, ignorance, and apathy, they choose to do absolutely nothing about it. This is much to our collective dismay that if everyone today chose to stop engaging with evil and all of its manifestations, we could theoretically change the world overnight. To know that something is immoral and bad yet continuing to consent to it is stupid beyond belief. It is not a matter of lacking access to proper information, but is instead a matter of ignorance, as we have no shortage of truthful, objective information available to us which enlightens us as to the way evil is operating in this domain. Ultimately, in the end, no excuse will carry weight in the face of our one omnipotent creator. The toleration of evil is an error no one should look forward to receiving when departing this realm. We are graced, especially in this country, with the continued opportunity to correct our error, followed by dedicating our whole souls to the good for all of life. This is not a matter of opinion, it is a matter of freedom or slavery. As inconvenient as it might be, we must accept that a group of beings seeks dominion over the entire race. If you are unable to see that such an ongoing act, which is as dark can possibly be underway, you might never see the light in your lifetime. We hope you find a remedy to your ail. And in case you don't know what is this darkness, what is this slavery that we're talking about in particular, it has to do with understanding two core concepts that the world has greatly misunderstood or mischaracterized: true anarchy or voluntarism. I'm going to break these two down briefly for you here just to provide more background behind the article I just read by Bobby Burke, and you can send us your article, I'll turn into a video for you. Get involved with the Liberator 2 News. That's the liberator.us, that's the liberator.us. Now, what does anarchy mean? From the Greek prefix and noun anarchon, it means without rulers. Anarchy does not mean without rules, it means without rulers. No masters, no slaves. Okay, so when he was talking about slavery versus freedom, this is what we're talking about. Voluntarism is the doctrine that relations among people should be by mutual consent. Most people live by this in their everyday lives. They simply give an exception to this in politics. It's a simple moral rule that most people live by, like I said. The rule is just consent, basically, voluntary interaction. By the nature of this rule, an individual is a ruler over themselves and therefore has no rulers. Okay, so there was a lawyer and 19th century abolitionist, Lysander Spooner, who stated, quote, "Government is in reality established by the few, and those few assume the consent of all the rest, without any such consent actually being given. For a man thus subjected to a government that he does not want is a slave." Now, government, or the state, is the doctrine of authority, or the legitimacy of rulers having the right to rule. This creates the top cause of unnatural death, which is known as democide, or you may just call it war. Okay, now author and modern abolitionist Larken Rose states, quote, "It is absurd to try to force people to be nice or fair or compassionate, not only because aggression is inherently wrong, because there will never only be one idea of what is nice, fair, and compassionate. To have millions of people constantly fighting over the sword of authority, each hoping to forcibly impose his view of goodness upon everyone else, has been the direct cause of most of the violence and oppression in history. Though it may seem counterintuitive, this fact is historically indisputable. Most of the evil committed throughout history has come from the attempts to use authority to accomplish good things." End quote. Now let us remind ourselves of what anarchy is compared to what people think it is. What people thought it was savage citizens and a free-for-all devoid of government's loving guidance. But all you have to do is ask yourself one simple question: how does the slave free themselves? They have to understand and know thyself in a sense of self-ownership. That's a rule that they had to maintain for themselves, so again, they can become their own ruler. So what is anarchy really? And what's required for it is actually self-ownership. So the exact opposite of what people think it is, it's actually what is required for it. And so what it actually is peaceful citizens coexisting through voluntary interaction devoid of government coercion. It requires morality. It's not the absence of morality. It requires sovereignty. It's not the absence of sovereignty. People are getting it twisted in the complete opposite, where they think freedom is chaos. But freedom is actually order, because it allows individuals to get together and voluntarily interact, and billions of different solutions to come about with no monopoly on one solution or another. There's free competition. People can say, hey, this is the best product, this is the best product. There's no coercion. There might be some pockets of coercion, but it wouldn't be seen as legitimate because of authority. So here's another quote to sort of summarize all of this up. From the 20th century abolitionist Leo Tolstoy. He says, even if the absence of government really did mean anarchy in a negative, disorderly sense, which is far from being the case, even then no anarchical disorder could be worse than the position to which government has led humanity. So here we have this big darkness plaguing humanity, and people may be in that darkness and they don't want to see that there's light outside of it, which is much more empowering, saying that, hey, every human being can be free, can have the knowledge to free themselves. That's very empowering. To say, oh, well, human beings can never do that, and oh, there's always going to be crime, but we should just let these people steal our money all the time through taxation and give these people power, which are the same people that are most likely psychopaths and the people who want to seek power. So, I mean, we make these contradictive statements. We may not even ask ourselves the right questions, but if we do, we face the darkness and we can find the light. Thank you very much for watching.